Okay, sorry for the delay. We had a little technical difficulty. We are going to move to number 9, determination of compliance in the Woodmark Gateway Economic Development Area for a micro hospital. That's at 7904 Cabela Drive.
So if my orienteering is right, that's going to be right next to the Walmart parking lot?
Hello, you want to introduce yourself, sir?
My name is Cole Helfrich. I'm with Kanaki and Associates, Geneva, Illinois. I'm here representing the owner of the land, Cabela, Inc., and the developer, Pat Daly, the Daly Group in Chicago. For reference, we have already been through the first part of this process, which is the Buc-ee's that's on the corner of Cabela Drive and Indianapolis Boulevard. What we are doing at this time is re-subdividing the balance of the remainder of the property adjacent to the Walmart site behind the Buc-ee's. And the centerpiece of this development is the micro hospital. And we'll get to that in a second. What we're doing is we're dividing land up into 3 parcels. We assume that you have visuals of this so that you can see what we're talking about. I can entertain any questions that you have right now before I turn it over to the architect. I don't hear any. Okay, that's all good. Please. Oh. Okay. I'm sorry. The subdivision, Mr. Poling explains correctly that the subdivision itself is a matter for Plan Commission. This is the project as a whole. And you have a picture of what we're doing. 3 parcels, 2 have potential users, 1 is vacant at this time, but will be developed in stages. That's our goal.
Can you briefly or simply explain the term micro hospital?
Micro hospital is a small 2-story building, just a few beds in an emergency department, it's the urgent care facility, and a short-term stay facility, but I will defer to the designer of this thing to let him explain all those details. Please.
Welcome, sir.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Namer Kaim. I'm the architect on this project. And I want to give you a little bit of information on what the project is all about. Your question regarding the micro hospital is a good one. I think terminology-wise, micro hospital is kind of a funny term because we don't call big hospitals macro hospitals. So the intent is that this is really, truly a hospital building. It's going to be licensed by the Indiana Department of Health. I think the term micro comes from because we only have like 6 inpatient beds, but it is a fully licensed hospital, and the components within the hospital, I'll tell you a little bit about that. It's 18,000 square feet approximately, and it's a single-story building. It's got a hospital entrance, 6 inpatient beds. It also has a full imaging suite, which is radiology, x-ray, an MRI, CAT scan. It has lab services, pharmacy services. A large part of this is an emergency room, currently a 7-bed emergency room. So we believe it's an asset to the community. It provides health care. These micro hospitals are located more for community-based facilities rather than regional large hospitals. So it's bringing health care, and it's a new concept. It's bringing health care to the community as opposed to the residents having to go to a centralized large hospital system. As I said, it's a fully licensed hospital facility, and it's going to sit directly across the driveway from Walmart. It's 2.4 acres, I think, approximately that. I think you have some plat documents
Yeah, it's at 2.43
submitted. I didn't bring renderings for everybody to look at. I don't know if anybody's seen it, but it's. I think it's, of course, being the architect, I'm biased, but I think we're going to do a nice job of a single-story building, and I'll just hold this up. I can pass that around. I apologize, I didn't know we were going to discuss this in detail, but
Would you mind
Yeah.
passing that around just for a quick look? Just because I'm nosy more than anything? Thank you.
We've done these in different places around the country. We've done several in Texas. We've got 2 going up in Arizona. We've got a second one. We've got 2 in Louisiana. This is the first one in Indiana. Expected to be doing one in Kansas. So it is a new concept, but again, it's delivering health care to the community instead of the community having to go to regional medical centers to receive their health care. It's 24-hour care. Doctors will always be in the facility.
I don't want to hold you to a number, but approximately the stay, like how many nights would it be? Like 14 days or less, or is it just
My understanding from
case by case?
from the
probably?
physicians is the beds are really there to support the emergency room, or as people walk in. It's really a short-term stay, and it's not for critical patients. It's for somebody who might be having chest pains and they want to keep them overnight, or somebody that's got a compound fracture that they want to keep them overnight for some reason. So it really is a short-term stay. The doctors have told me that if it's something that's catastrophic, they will be transporting them to a regional facility. So this is not something that is for complicated cases. It's for somebody that might have some problems in the community, and they can take care of it right there. So it's almost like observation type things. So it's not going to be something that is a very long stay. I'm happy to entertain questions.
In the other, just my own mind, it seems to me like something for a smaller community where I would consider Hammond a good-sized city. The other sites that you mentioned, Arizona, whatever, are they Hammond-type cities? I mean, population of whatever, 50,000 plus?
So yes, they are. Like, for example, we are just finishing one up in Phoenix, but it's not in Phoenix proper. It's one of the bedroom communities. So it's a town called Chandler. I don't know what the population there is, but it may not be as big as Chandler. So, I'm sorry, as big as Hammond. We're getting started on one in Topeka, Kansas, and I'm not quite sure what the population size is there.
Like I say, it's
Yeah.
new to me, so I'm just curious.
Yeah.
But
But we've probably done maybe 10 of them architecturally. But they are new, and a lot of people have questions about what it's all about. And it's not like people will come here for a cold or something like that. It's not urgent care. It's not a doctor's office. It is a fully licensed hospital. And so if somebody presents themselves and they're really not, they really shouldn't be taken in, the doctors are supposed to push them off and say, hey, you're better off going to your physician or going to an urgent care down the street or something like that. So it's completely different. It's licensed differently than urgent care is.
anybody, any more questions?
No, thank you for
Sure.
your input.
Thank you.
Tony?
I'm gonna bring up Brian Poland, give his overview of the project.
Good afternoon. A couple other things to point out. This was identified as a $9 million project and expected to be 40 full-time jobs and 30 part-time jobs. The project is located in the Woodmore Gateway Economic Development Area, and that was created in anticipation of the development around the Cabela's store. And as everybody knows, we have the Walmart there, and then the Buc-ee's hasn't gone under construction yet. The whole idea of the economic development area is to help this, take advantage of the location being off of the expressway, change the old country highly accessed or accessed off the highway, commercial area. The micro-hospital, you know, he showed you the rendering of the elevations. You did have the black and white elevations in your packet. It is a combination of stone veneer, cast stone, water table, brick, stucco, and metal storefront. So it is something that is of, you know, a little bit better quality scale of architecture than what we've seen in perhaps other parts of Hammond. There are some, you know, the access issues and some of those things are, are pretty close to being worked out. The subdivision plat is still pending, and we also have to have the development plan approved by the Plan Commission. Staff does recommend that the Redevelopment Commission make a determination that the proposed development of the micro-hospital that is in compliance with the goals and objectives of the Woodmore Gateway Economic Development Plan, subject to, of course, the approval of the Plan Commission for the re-subdivision and development plan, and any of the remaining departments for their respective jurisdictions under technical review.
I so move.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the determination of compliance in the Woodmar Gateway Economic Development Area for the micro-hospital at 7904 Cabela Drive. Is there any further questions or discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Soto Presley, Kasperky,
Yes.
Abejas.
Yes.
Myricks.
Yes.
Stockbridge.
Yes, motion passes 4 yes, 1 absent. Thank you, Mr. Poland. All right, number 10 is an approval of a proposal for ALTA/NSPS land title survey for Hammond Sports Complex.
Members of the commission, if you look in your packet, you will see a proposal for an ALTA survey for the Hammond, actually it's a site that the Hammond Sportsplex as well as the former Carson's building share. There's a need to have an updated survey done since the construction of the Sportsplex, and we have John Kennedy here from Structure Point to explain the scope of services that they are applying for at this time.
Good evening, Board. John Kennedy with American Structure Point. Happy New Year. The ALTA survey, ALTA, which stands for American Land and Title Association, and NSPS stands for National Society of Professional Surveyors. It's a fancy title for a detailed survey. That's what you're going to be getting here. It will be doing deed search, flood classification. It will confirm any easements or encumbrances on the property, and it will look at surface utilities. And so that will all be determined. We'll take markings of the structure and provide that to the Redevelopment Commission. So what you're getting here is a detailed survey based on the ALTA requirements for this type of work. We're trying to expedite it as quickly as possible. We have a 25-day turnaround time. We will have surveyors, if approved, out there by within 2 weeks. The week of the 14th. We should have surveyors out on site for a couple days, getting all the measurements, and then our goal is to, based on our contract, after approval, we'll have this back to you within 25 days.
And members,
Surveying the Sportsplex property?
The whole property from 165th to 167th, the property that's owned by the redevelopment, which includes Carson's and the sports complex, both sites.
So one
Or
of the
the
things
one
we've
single
been,
site.
one of the things we've been looking at is the old Carson site. What are we going to do with it, right? And we want to bid out a portion of that, maybe use some of it for parking, maybe bid out a portion of it for a developer to come in and propose something complementary to the Sportsplex. Without having this ALTA survey, it's impossible to do that bid because we don't know what we're bidding out to somebody. So we need to know.
I guess my question is, I understand the need for a survey. I'm just surprised it wasn't done prior to the Sportsplex. I guess that's ultimately my questioning.
it would have been done, but it needs to be updated because of the fact that the Sportsplex has been constructed on the property. So it needs to be updated to reflect the Sportsplex is there now.
Well, and I think additionally, the real impetus for doing it is the selling of the part that used to be Carson's. And until you had that until you knew Carson's was leaving and until you knew you were gonna knock it down for sure, because there were certain discussion about whether or not we were gonna knock that down or whether we're gonna repurpose that building. Once the decision was made that we're gonna demolish the building and then we're gonna redevelop vacant land, then it became necessary.
I just wanted to have Mr. Kennedy answer questions, quite honestly.
Thank you, Mr.
I didn't want him to
Prosperity.
screw it up, so I.
Yeah, but you stepped in and covered for him, so I kind of wanted to put it on him,
And he did a much better job than I would have.
Mr. President, are we done?
Yes.
Mr. President, I make a motion for the approval of the proposal for the Alta NSPS land title survey for the Hammond Sportsplex.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call, please, on that?
Soto Presley, Casperky.
Yes.
Villegas.
Yes.
Myrick.
Yes.
Stockbridge.
Yes, motion passes.
Thanks,
4
Jeff.
yes, 1 absent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Okay, number 11, Resolution 19-1, resolution authorizing the Hammond Redevelopment Commission to authorize the Hammond Department of Planning and Development to apply for a 306A low-cost construction grant.
Members of the commission, in your package, you will find a resolution, actually the first resolution of this year, authorizing, you will authorize the Department of Planning and Development to apply for a low-cost construction grant. This grant is being applied for with HC3, which is Hammond Community Creative, the business association in the Hessville area. As you are aware, we sold them the old library, and they're doing a wonderful job as far as rehabbing the library. They've gotten a lot of donations, and they've had a lot of, they've gotten a lot of donations for the rehab of the building. At this time, they are applying for a $35,000 grant from the Indiana Department of Natural Resources to restore 12 of the windows and the steel encasements. And that's the last leg of the building's renovation. As I stated before, they've done a really good job with soliciting funds from various sources. They've had a lot of in-kind donations, so they're doing a wonderful job of rehabbing the building, which is an asset to us because at one time the building was sort of slated for demolition, so we definitely want to work with them to help renovate the property.
So this is a grant, not a loan.
It is a grant,
It's a grant.
yeah.
So we're not liable for the 35,000.
No, it's a grant, correct.
And why are we approving it if we donated the property to the,
Because HC3 and the Department of Planning and Development, they need the Department of Planning and Development to apply for the grant with HC3. And so that's why we need your permission just to apply for the grant with HC3,
even though they're the property owners?
correct.
I think the answer you're looking for, Wally, is that the program itself requires the municipal entity to do the application. And when you do an application as this entity, you need to do a resolution to do the application.
That part I understand, but like I said, I thought we gave them the property or sold it to them.
We did.
That was my, just a fine line there, but I'm fine with it.
Mr. President, I make a motion to approve the resolution 19-1, resolution authorizing the Hammond Redevelopment Commission to authorize the Hammond Department of Planning and Development to apply for a 306A low-cost construction grant.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. If there's no further questions or discussion, roll call then, please.
Soto Presley, Casperky.
Yes.
Villegas.
Yes.
Myrick.
Yes.
Stockbridge.
Yes, motion passes, 4 yes, 1 absent. Okay, number 12, reports. Ms. Africa Tarver, would you like to share anything tonight?
I just want to say Happy New Year to the members of the commission, and basically just to say 2018 was an exciting year for planning and development. We had a lot of projects. It was a year for us, and I'm looking forward to keeping the momentum going in 2019.
Thank you. Number 13 is our bills, register of claims.
Mr. President, I make a motion to pay the register of claims, beginning with claims dated 12/6/18 and ending with claims dated 1/3/19, claim number R56880 through R56982.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the claims. Claims R56880 through claim R56982. Is there any questions or discussion on these claims for staff? Okay, roll call on the claims, please.
Soto Presley, Casperky,
Yes.
Villegas,
Yes.
Myrick,
Yes.
Faumbridge.
Yes, motion passes 4 yes, 1 absent. Okay, number 14, new and unfinished business.
Mr. President, I just wanted to introduce Carolyn Thies, who's at the end of the dais. She's an associate with our office. I think some of you have met her maybe at functions in the past, but she's here, and so if you don't see me or Nicole, you may see her from time to time. I'm not abandoning it, don't worry. Well, maybe Mr. Myrick would think that's a good thing, but just so that we have some additional coverage on some of these bigger projects that we're working on. So I wanted to introduce her, and I don't know if she's got anything she wants to say.
All right. It's always good to have some reinforcement help. All right, then, number 15, public comment. Anybody like to come forward? Public comment is open. You have 3 minutes. Okay, public comment closed. Number 16.
Mr. President, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Can you all signify by aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Meeting is adjourned.